we're gonna hit deep dive with our expert, Ryan.
Hey guys.
From Laylax, and we're gonna talk about their bucking. So, we all know the purple, the tried and true. We see the guys running this thing. A lot of the Speedsoft crew, team like that, they love these things. Some of the people that play indoor really kind of the go-to. That's been your gold standard for
purple priming.
Yeah, I mean, if you think bucking, it's purple, right? The red, some of you may not know, this is really for your high power, like high power builds, like DMRs, outdoors, or if you live in a cold environment.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like where would you sell a lot of these? Like,
so mostly in like Eastern Europe and northern countries, like you got Finland and like, Denmark, Scandinavian countries up there. And sometimes in Canada as well, because with buckings being rubber or silicone, they tend to easily freeze. Yeah. So we have to make it a little thicker, and plus if you're using heavier BBs with more FPS, you gotta also have them thicker so they don't tear so easily. Right,
and that's what a lot of the players run with the purples. Yes. They're applying a purple which is designed for what rough power level? So, I think a lot of people have trouble with the power levels.
Yes.
Like what to buy, what?
Yeah, exactly, and the purple was originally designed after the original Marui black thing, which was around 50 degrees, sometimes 40. So we went after that kind of rating, and I would say from 0.2s to 2.25s, from 280 FPS up to 320, which is our limit here in Japan.
Right, so this is going to really fall in under, or on the very low end, or under most indoor fields, and some outdoor fields that shoot around 350 feet per second, or globally we're talking about 90 to 100 meters per second, roughly. So with those two in play, this being heavier weight BBs, like we're talking about 3.2s and better?
Yeah, like 3.2s and up, and and FPS wise, we're saying like 450 plus.
So like a 120 spring or better, essentially, maybe 125s, 135s, if you're doing the odd numbers or 130s?
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's this.
Yeah.
This is new.
This one
got my attention. I was like, blue? What's this blue one? So tell me about the new Promi Blue.
So we have the purple Promi, which is the soft, and the red, which is the hard, and now we have the firm in between, or 60 degree.
Okay.
So this guy is there to bridge the gap. So for a lot of communities out there, like specifically in the United States, Canada, and some parts of Western Europe, you guys are running between 340 to like 400 FPS, right?
Right, that's the sweet spot for either indoor to outdoor. You're gonna see most of the fields at that level.
Yeah, and then with those FPSs, people tend to use like 0.25, 0.28, 3, and 3.2 is what this is optimized for.
So it's a wider range. It's kind of like the I wouldn't say the one size fits all, but it's definitely that mid band. So for the players that are running the purples and they're kind of going through it, still running. I mean, there's a benefit to this. I know a lot of the HP guys love that. This is kind of more for the everyday player who's looking for that upgrade that kind of fits that sweet spot of, hey, I want to go take my OEM airsoft gun, airsoft replica, and I want to start OEM plussing this. I want to start throwing some upgrades behind it.
Yeah, basically, and a lot of people, they just hear names on the internet and like, oh, just put this bucket in there and it'll work. You can't always do that because everyone has different regulations in each country. People are using different types of BBs, different FPS limits, semi-auto, full auto, HPA, AEGs. So what we always recommend is just to follow our guide on what bucking is best for you, the purple, blue, or the red, and then go from there. Because sometimes people will buy the red and be like, oh, it's not working. Then we ask them what's wrong, and they're like, hey, I was using it on 280 FPS, and we're like, no, there you go.
Yeah, that's your problem, right? And what's cool is this, just a small, minute detail. I picked this up, I was like, this has English in the back, and it tells you, by the way, it's all on here. So if you're in a shop, you can pick it up, and you can look at the back of their packaging in English, and it'll tell you what it's used for. So all these questions, as you were talking, I flipped, I was like, wait a minute, I could read this. Like, what? Yeah. So this is a big push for you. This is like your first real product that's specifically for a Western market, like with English instructions in the back.
So a lot of our new products in the past year or so has been basically the limited edition to the overseas, as opposed to the opposite where we have Japan limited edition things. It's the opposite now, where we started making things for Japanese market, but now we're making it specifically only for the overseas market.
Okay,
and that's why they're all in English as opposed to kind of half and half. So that's why it's specifically made and designed and optimized for the outside world.
Well, speaking of specific for the outside world, when we're talking about outside of Japan, this. I'm sure if you've been watching, if you're watching this video or seeing this, Jonathan, what's this hop-up chamber? What's this purple thing, right? This is something I was wondering when you would finally do. Like, for real, I'd be like, when are they gonna, I know they're gonna do it, I know they're gonna do it right, I know they're waiting to make it, in the way that's going to be right. So this this is their elite CNC'd hop-up chamber, and this is designed for V2 platforms with this style hop-up chamber. Some have a little different ones. So if you're looking for, like, when I say this style, like the L-shaped kind. This is a rotary style. So you'll see that used, I think, in some of the more newer products that are hitting the market. A lot of the companies, legacy companies, have switched to rotary styles. So you opted for rotary on yours to kind of match and fit in. Like, you look at the brands like Crytek and a bunch of others are using this style. Intercompatibility, because when it comes to CNC chambers, this is where I think you get on the forums, you get on the internet, you get on Facebook groups, and it's just like, you gotta have like tech specs out of the way. Like, how does this work? What does it fit with? Tell me fitment on this. Like, where can I, which airsoft brands, products, whatever, what's the use case on this?
Well, so the theme of a lot of these international only or export only type of products, specifically for the outside market, is the wide range of compatibility.
Okay.
So not only with the buckings and the springs and the gears, but also it was a big role or big thing with the design of the CNC Hopup chamber, in that you don't need different nozzle lengths like some brands do, and you also don't need to worry about feeding, because we try to meet a nice middle ground where it fit things like Crytek, G&G, Aries, of course all the TM spec stuff, specifically TM as well.
Right.
So with that said, it's just going for the highest amount of compatibility while retaining all the accuracy, range, and reliability that you can think of.
Right. Now, there are some brands that are not going to be immediately compatible with this, and you see that with some of the other premium offerings in this, the high-end CNC. I think notably one that's very close to me is the VFC platform. Maybe we can talk about something later. Maybe I can twist your arm, we can work on something with VFC.
Well, all I can say is that there are more units on their way for other brands.
Okay, so
this is only
don't
the
read
first.
into that. This is not Apple leaks or anything like that. So so also what's interesting about this, I noticed when I picked it up, started playing with it, it's clicky.
Yes.
Clicky, and most of them aren't click. You deal with the, you guys know what I mean. Like, it's got the clicky hop up, right? And the benefit for me is, like, you never, like, I don't know, you got gloves on.
Feel, right?
Yeah, a little tactile feel. Sometimes I just need to, like, dial it up one, and you're playing and you bump that thing and the wheel just goes flying, and next thing your BBs are either, off to the moon, like hitting the SpaceX rockets on the way up, or they're just dropping out in front of you. So you guys opted for the clicky, adding the ball bearing and the detents in there to give it that. And it's let me see if I can get by the mic here. Oh.
Yeah.
There you go, the audio guys, you guys like that, right?
The ASMR.
ASMR, right? Like, let's just hop up ASMR.
But to answer your question, we opted for both, actually.
Okay.
So with this model, there's a ball bearing and spring tensioner on the inside of the dial, and you can use it with or without. So if you use it with, you get the tactile click that a lot of people have requested in the past.
Oh, I see it in there, tiny little ball bearing in the kit. So I see it's like of course you can't see it on camera, but there's one in there. So you can opt to or not to install that when you put it together.
It'll work either way.
Okay, it will
like
work,
I said,
so you can still...
with the spring and ball bearing, it gives you that tactile feel, and then if you're using a high volume of fire with HPA full auto, it doesn't have a tendency to jump, right?
Right, because you're running so much through at one time, you can push it, end up pushing everything back up and then walks it back on you.
But with the trade-off though, why a lot of CNC hop-up chambers don't do the click is because the machining required, as you can see, are the little nubs.
Oh, it's extra, it's extra work. A lot extra work.
Harder to do, like precision-wise. So we had to really work on the dial to actually get the click. Most people are like, just make it smooth.
Yeah, and this isn't like extruded. This is actually like proper CNC'd from billet. From what I can tell, it looks like here. It's not extruded.
All made in Japan.
Okay. Oh yeah. That's also good too. All made in Japan. So also in the kit, I was just looking in here, and then there's a couple things, because you kind of, this is it built, but the box is kind of like, it's not really a DIY. It's a little bit of a DIY, but it's super easy.
It's a fully customizable kit. So it also includes our, world famous purple Promi and the new blue firm Promi.
So when you buy this, you get both of these in the box. You can play around. So if you want to do something a little softer or even go harder, it should cover 90%, 95% of the players.
And it's like, some people, and we don't try to be elitist here and say, hey, you have to use all Prometheus. Like, I know, I get it. Some people use other things, but hey, why not try it first with this? Because everything's designed around the same specs. So you'll get the most bang for your buck in performance through using the same brand things, right?
Right. So I'm also learning something too here, and I think this is going to be for the people who want to mod and tune, the more advanced players, because a lot of the guys and gals that are out there jumping into this are doing some real serious modding. It looks like you've done a variation of a top-down center type hop-up adjustment. So you have a bar, like your adjustment arm, but then you have looks like an aluminum, like the piece that rides a channel. So it's not going at an angle. The bar's pressing a piece of metal, and it's so hard to see on camera. I'll get some close-ups, try to stitch them in on my videos.
Overlays.
We'll do some overlays. Yeah. Well, hey, editor, do some overlays for us. But it rides this perfect up and down, so you're not getting any interesting or weird tension. So it should give you, like for those of you that want to do, let's say, R-hopping, flat hopping. Yes. I know you have a bucking that is nubless as well.
Yes.
So you can opt for that.
Exactly. So nice observation. We have a vertical or TDC type of elevation arm, so you can come straight from the top for a more direct and hopping, essentially, so that you can use both all the standard hop-up nubs, the flat hop and R-hops, and it's more accurate going straight from the top instead of angle. Another important point to know is that the hop-up arm is also aluminum. So a lot of times you'll see like metal hop-ups, but they have like a plastic arm or something.
Right.
And the issue with that is, over time, a lot of people don't know to turn off your hop in between games, but sometimes you can't be bothered, right?
Right.
And but with that, if you have a plastic,
I ever do it.
yeah, if you have a plastic hop arm, over time it warps. And then that arm, you know, gets destroyed over time. So we opted for a stronger aluminum arm, so that even if you do forget, or if you're just one of those people that just wants to leave it in place all the time, there you go. You don't have to worry about it.
And it's compatible with your like flat style hop tensioners too, for those out there. This, you don't know this, so it's kind of like you can just put the little nub, but it actually has a flat bottom, so can you have like a full R hop except for the actual patch portion?
that would you have to do for yourself for now. You'll have to do yourself. So R hop your barrel, and then everything else is just drop in play right here.
Awesome. So you can get you all the way for pretty much every player. Like you said, it does offer something for almost everybody.
Exactly.
And I noticed there was a few features that you chose not to put in here, like the BB retention clip and things like that, or the actual, some of the models out there do like the LED lights for the built-in tracers.
And that's fair. Some people look for that feature, but for us, we want to go purely for compatibility and performance gain.
Right.
So we took away some of those bells and whistles and added other bells and whistles so that it can fit many types of guns and brands, as well as having great feeding. And the biggest thing for me personally, as someone who works on my own guns, is not having to switch nozzles.
That's a big one too.
And I run a lot of Crytek's, and they have slightly shorter nozzles. And then with some other brands of hop-up chamber, you have to get that specific model or this and that. And for me, I like to switch like my barrel and hold this assembly and then switch it between guns. Maybe I have a spare upper receiver. With this, I can easily just plug and play everything, you know.
Gotcha. And mag compatibility too, because like deleting a couple features gives you a broader range of compatibility.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because I actually had a few guns that had feeding issues with certain mags, and I just switched it to this hop-up and it instantly, you know, fixed that problem.
Nice.
Because, you know, sometimes you have that like the mid-cap syndrome with some guns.
Yeah.
All the guns
sometimes push it forward or pull it back, or you know, some brands fit, some of them are older.
Yeah, they hang a little low to the side or something. But for both of the two guns that I had like the mid-cap syndrome, I just dropped this in there and immediately fixed it.
Nice. So, well, there you go. When is this available?
Well, right now it's available everywhere.
Okay.
Anyone that carries our stuff, and it just released a few weeks ago, but you know, it really takes time for it to get overseas. Yeah, everything's got to ride a boat. It takes a while. But what I'll do is, as things progress, if you're watching this on my channel or yours, I'll put some links down below if you're looking for options in the West outside of because this is outside of Japan market, to go check this product out if you want to learn some more about it, or just go to your local shop and ask for it. I mean, like pretty much everybody who's got a good shop is carrying your products. Yes. So, well, really appreciate it. All right, well, thanks a bunch. I really appreciate the rundown on this, and stay tuned. We have more coming on their Springline gears and other things. We'll see you soon. See ya.